In recent years, we've witnessed an increased hostility coming from conservative American Christians. Apostles of the demiurge have never lacked institutional power. However, they feel deeply threatened by the growing skepticism many have directed towards their doctrine. Being subject to scrutiny has only reinforced their idiotic beliefs and helped feed their ever-growing victim complex. Make no mistake, this victim complex is absolutely crucial to their belief system. Christianity, as Nietzsche pointed out, is a system built out of slave morality. It subsists on the notion that to be powerless and weak is the equivalent of moral righteousness, an assumption that has become so ubiquitous to our Christianized culture that even many of our atheists operate by it. For this reason, no matter how powerful the Christian is, he must always present himself as the oppressed, as the victim of a secular, even satanic society, in order to maintain his sense of moral superiority. In response to this false sense of victimization, the true face of the Christian is finally being seen in Christian nationalism, a movement to establish the United States as a Christian nation and enforce Christian values on the population. This includes discrimination against non-Christians, LGBT people, political opponents, immigrants from Central and South America, and, in due time, non-whites. For the time being, many non-whites are welcomed into the Christian nationalist movement. But don't be fooled, as the core of the movement is now, and always has been, made up of white nationalists. The criticisms I see people put forth against Christian nationalism are often deeply misguided. Many will attempt to present a liberal, whitewashed version of Christianity, claiming Christian nationalists to be an aberration from the word of Christ, or will point to specific verses from the Bible that go against what Christian nationalists argue for. This fundamentally misunderstands both the Bible and the relationship Christian nationalists have to it. The Bible is a famously self-contradictory book, to the point where it basically serves as a Rorschach test. One can turn to the Bible as a justification or refutation for just about anything. Christianity is a fundamentally incoherent belief system, built around the belief in a God who creates you with omniscience to the choices you'll make and to the life you will lead, all of which apparently plays into his divine plan, but then punishes you with eternal damnation in hell when you make all the choices he planned on you making, all the while claiming to love you. The relationship of a worshiper to God is that of a child to an abusive parent. Is it any wonder, then, that so many good Christian parents are also abusers? The Bible also justifies so many things most people in our time would consider horrendous, including genocide, slavery, and rape. For this reason, I don't condemn Christian nationalism for being aberrant from Christianity, but rather condemn Christianity itself as the destructive force that it is. Another one of the most common arguments made against Christian nationalism is that the United States wasn't founded as a Christian nation, making Christian nationalism fundamentally anti-American. I understand the motivation behind this argument, in the attempt to appeal to the conservative sense of patriotism, but I take issue with it for a couple of reasons. One is that it assumes the United States to be a force for good in the world, despite mountains of evidence to the contrary, such as the ongoing genocide of indigenous people and imperialism throughout the world. Second is that America, while not founded as an explicitly Christian nation, was an outgrowth of the Enlightenment, which itself was an outgrowth and secularization of Christian morals and values. To this day, core elements of Christian dogma still reign supreme within the culture, but in ways divorced from their theistic roots. The Protestant work ethic translates into the fetishization of hard work under capitalism. The priestly class in the church is replaced with celebrities, politicians, and CEOs. Sinners become criminals. Eternal hellfire becomes the justice system, the private prison industry, the lynch mob, and social ostracization. Slave morality becomes the dominant force in all political organizations. This nation may not be explicitly Christian, but it is drenched in the ideological residue of Christianity. More than anything, what all of these arguments fail to consider is that the Christian nationalist movement flat out doesn't care about the content of any of these arguments. You can tell them they're anti-Christian or anti-American till you're blue in the face, and even if it was true, they wouldn't care. This is because they have realized something that many of their opponents have failed to realize. Might is right. Among the leaders of the Christian nationalist movement, belief in the Bible is not necessarily born out of a genuine conviction. Rather, it serves as a war stratagem. They know Christianity can be used to manipulate people and win them over to their side, as it always has been by many kings and conquerors throughout history. All this is merely illusion, used to gather the sheep of the herd in support of their real goal, power by any means necessary. Attempting to appeal to their morality, their beliefs, their patriotism, or even to the truth means nothing in the face of sheer might. And that is what they are after, and that is what they now have. They understand the world as a battlefield, something the rest of us need to get caught up on. Life is an endless battle. Upon being born, you are enlisted to fight, and by refusing to fight, you only allow yourself to be conquered. Many are deeply worried about what the rise of Christian nationalism could mean for them, particularly within the non-white, immigrant, and LGBT communities. And this worry is absolutely warranted, as the future looks quite grim. I'm not going to tell you whether or not to give up hope, as hope is an abstract ideal. What I will tell you is to never give in to the whims of the herd of Christ. The moment you stop living as your authentic self, you are already dead. Those who are free are born free, live free, and will die free, irrespective of the edicts of puritanical tyrants of the cross. What we need now are not thoughts and prayers, not canvassing for candidates or coexist bumper stickers. What we need now are fucking lions, hungry for the flesh of sheep, ready for the battle that is to come. I call upon Ram, who lays waste to the cities and dignities of man, to tear down these Christian constructs we have been imprisoned by. I call upon Satan, that adversary, to extinguish the false light of Christ that makes slaves of all who follow it. Finally, I call upon Lucifer, the bearer of light, whose black flame burns eternal, to illuminate the darkness Satan leaves behind. Furkana ale laris ram, tasa reme laris Satan, renik tasa uberaka biasa ikar Lucifer.